This shit more than a game.
Perfect.
Alvin Kamara just did an interview with Saints legend Terron Armstead about his future in New Orleans. And in a surprising way, it actually possibly left more questions than answers. But we'll try to answer those questions here tonight on the John Barnes Show. And you know why? Well, that question we can definitely answer because this shit more than a game. Welcome to the John Barnes Show.
From the stands, I'm invested. Every loss served like a lesson we tested. Front porch talk turn to Sunday confessions. From dome to the block, it's all one connection. From Eric to Drew, Alvin to Cam, talk down on my squad. Boy, I be damned. I rap for the ones that never got fame, still yelling loud. This shit more than a game. Cause y'all know why? This shit more than a game. It ain't no lie. This shit more than a game. You know that's right. This shit more than a game. And y'all know why? This shit more than a game. Now I got Lil John sitting on my knee, teaching them young what it mean to believe. This bigger than scores, it's what we became. He gon' know off top, this shit more than a game. Clarissa in the back giving me all types of stress, but deep down she know the husband the best. She knows he's crazy, she know he's mean, but she know the kid 100% New Orleans. And y'all know why, this shit more than a game. It ain't no lie, this shit more than a game. You know that's right, this shit more than a game. And y'all know why, this shit more than a game. Yeah. When you see Jono scream, this shit more than a game. And when you see a Falcons fan, just call out for Jonathan. And yeah, this shit more than a game. New Orleans know this shit more than a game. Louisiana know this shit more than a game. Texas know this shit more than a game. Whole world know this shit more than a game. Y'all know why?
This shit more than a game. Oh, look, I know that you guys may be a little off center tonight because we usually do traditionally the John Barnes Show on a Tuesday. Tonight's Wednesday. But I know that you guys aren't that off your rockers that you can still start this show, no matter the day, with a this shit more than a game in the chat. Let's get them chats popping, locking, and dropping right now because we have some good stuff to talk about. Shout out to the New Orleans Saints, man. We are officially in the dog days of the offseason. And yet the Saints are still feeding us enough content to keep things moving along. Hopefully until the schedule release next week. I'm hoping that the NFL puts out the schedule release next week. I saw a report saying that they might delay it another week. And I'm like, how many times are we going to keep delaying year after year the schedule release? Soon they're going to start announcing the schedule the week before Labor Day. Like, oh, here's the schedule, y'all. Enjoy y'all football this season. Like, come on, man, get the schedule out. I want to know, what games I got to use my wife's credit card for. The more days that pass by, the more it makes it harder for me to get that goddamn credit card utilized. But leave a this shit more than a game in the chat right now as we have a good bit of stuff to talk about with our New Orleans Saints. We're going to get right down to it. If you guys have been online the past 2 days, you might have seen Alvin Kamara's interview with Saints legend Terron Armstead, where a lot of fans were watching with a bated breath, wondering if Alvin was going to make any type of announcement regarding his future with the New Orleans Saints. Well, he didn't make a formal announcement per se, but he did say a lot without saying a lot. Let us get to you guys, if you have not seen it, some of the highlights from Alvin Kamara's interview with Terron Armstead this past Monday on Terron Armstead's show, The Set.
And you know, I ain't into social media and all that. I don't do too much watching and stuff, but I think a lot of people be thinking it's like beef or something. Like when moves like this happen, and it's like, man, I couldn't be happier. Like, one, my boy got paid, and two, like, man, there ain't nothing but some help in the backfield. Like, man, that's the name of the game. Shoot, one person can't do it by themselves, so I'm cool. I'm cool with it, man. Whichever direction that we can take it. I mean, I'm with it. You know what I'm saying? So I haven't had really a chance too much to talk to him, but definitely excited that he got a Fleur de Lis on his helmet. He got paid, and it's time to work.
For sure. He we've seen it before. Like we've seen the combo before when you and Mark Ingram.
Come on, bro.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So can you guys can we get that again? Can we see that type of production out of the backfield from a two-headed monster?
And I think that's what we're trying to find, man. Like I think me and Mark set the bar and
high.
Yeah, very high. And I think that's what efficiency looks like on a very high level. So I mean I'm 100% for it. Like if that's what direction we going in, I'm with it. I think we can get some. I think we can get there. Mark. Tutu my dog. So I ain't gonna say we gonna recreate that, but we'll see. we got to get close. We got to reach for it.
The New Orleans Saints.
Yeah.
The draft just happened. Mm-hmm. I really want to get your thoughts on the Saints' first pick, number 8 overall, Jordan Tyson.
Jordan. Yeah, man. I mean, super talented. Watched him a little bit in college. He doing some things that you see and you like, whoa. Super excited to get him in the building. I ain't been in New Orleans, but I'll be over there soon. I'll go check him out and go all the draft picks really, but just tap in and say what's up to those guys. But super excited to see what he can do. I know he's just another weapon for the offense.
What I seen from Jordan Tyson is explosive, bro.
Yeah, for sure.
Explosive.
Yeah. We know explosive, so yeah, he definitely explosive. Like I'm excited to see it translate. We'll have him right.
So, a few things to take away from that. Alvin Kamara did not go on Terron Armstead's show and say, I am going to retire. Like there was some speculation that he was going to retire this offseason. Alvin Kamara did not explicitly say me and the Saints are in contract negotiations or anything of the sort. Alvin Kamara talked as if everything was hokey-dory. Hey, I'm a New Orleans Saint. I'm going to report to training camp. Everything's fine. What more do I have to say? Alvin Kamara carried the conversation as if everything was normal. Everything may not seem normal because, again, we hear Kellen Moore and Mickey Loomis, when they answer questions about Kamara, they don't speak as strongly about his future. And they'll say, oh, we'll reconvene after the draft and see what our running back situation looks like. And, they're saying a lot without saying a lot. And Alvin Kamara did the same thing this past Monday by saying a lot without saying a lot. Notice that he said we. He didn't say the Saints. He didn't say what they got going over there. He said we are going to get Jordan Tyson right. He says, I am looking forward to teaming up with Travis Etienne. Alvin Kamara made his intentions known. I am not going nowhere. I want to be a New Orleans Saint. So the book should be closed, right? Like, okay, it's going to be Etienne and Kamara in the backfield, something that I am in favor of. But let me know in the comments, after listening to that clip just now, what do you guys feel about Kamara's interview with Terron Armstead? Because here's where the questions still arise. Okay, well, if Alvin Kamara is as set in stone as being on the Saints roster in 2026, as he carried that conversation with Armstead like he was going to be, did Mickey Loomis and Kellen Moore get the memo yet? Because they've had many opportunities, Loomis and Kellen Moore, to just come out in their press conferences and say, yes, Alvin Kamara is a New Orleans Saint. We want Kamara and Etienne to carry our backfield in our running game in 2026. Kellen Moore and Mickey Loomis have not said that. Kellen Moore and Mickey Loomis have said, what about, roundabout answers of like, we're still, evaluating and we'll just talk with Alvin after and whatnot. So I would imagine Alvin, didn't go on Terron Armstead's show talking about we and what he looks forward to with the Saints this year without having, I would hope, some type of confidence or some type of contentness that, oh yeah, I'm going to be a New Orleans Saint this year. There's no smoke around this fire, nothing to worry about, Saints fans. But maybe Alvin was trying to play poker and say, hey, I'm going to carry myself as if I'm still a New Orleans Saint. And if Mickey or Kellen Moore have any different ideas, then they need to come see me or, say it with their chest. They used to always tell me, if you got to say something, say it with your chest. So maybe Alvin is calling out Kellen Moore and Mickey Loomis's hands and saying, what's up with it? Now, I might just be a fan ranting and rambling about that, but a prominent New Orleans Saints player, or former New Orleans Saints player, alluded to the same thing on Tuesday. And we'll get to that in the next segment because y'all definitely want to hear what a former New Orleans Saints player said about Alvin Kamara and his standing with the New Orleans Saints. But before we get to that, let's just talk about, in a vacuum, Kamara's interview with Terron Armstead. What did you guys take from that? Did you guys feel confident that, okay, there's nothing to see here, folks? Alvin Kamara is going to be a New Orleans Saint? Or do you still feel like, do the Saints feel as committed to Alvin Kamara as Alvin Kamara clearly feels committed to the New Orleans Saints? Let me know in the chat. And also let me know, guys, do y'all want Alvin Kamara back in 2026? He's making a lot of money. A lot of money that, again, in a vacuum, we know his history. Alvin Kamara deserves every goddamn penny that he brings to the city of New Orleans, to the Saints franchise in the city of New Orleans. We know that, but the NFL is a cold business, and it's about what have you done for me lately? And if we're just being real, Alvin Kamara's production the past 2 seasons has not matched his contract numbers. So we often talk about how the Saints are ran like a family business and how it's annoying. And, you know, but we as fans also grow an affinity to some of these players, an affection to a lot of these players. And so some fans are probably like the same way they are about Cam and we were about the Mario and players like that. Hey, man, stay as long as you want. Do you guys still feel that way about Alvin Kamara? Or are you maybe a bit more cold-blooded? I use the word cold-blooded hyperbolically, but are you a bit more cold-blooded and say, no, we don't need Kamara. We got Travis Etienne. We're paying Travis Etienne a lot of money. We don't need to pay that much money to 2 guys in the backfield, knowing that Kamara's role is obviously going to be a lot more limited in 2026, given that Etienne is probably going to be the featured player in the backfield. Do you think it's time for the Saints to say, hey, okay, Alvin, if you didn't want to be the one to retire or say, hey, trade me, or I want to go to another new team, we're going to be the ones that have to be the bad guy and say, lead the team. Thanks for the memories, but we're moving forward. Something that us fans have been asking the Saints front office to do for a long time. And it's easy for us to ask the front office to do that when it's people like Dennis Allen or Derek Carr saying, move forward, stop looking in the rear mirror, look in the front windshield. But when it's players we love, sometimes we have a hard time accepting that. I'll let y'all know my opinion. I made my opinion known many times. I want to keep Kamara because I genuinely believe, and I might be a little biased. I know, obviously, I have an affinity for Alvin Kamara. I know that Kamara has shown me love on his platforms before. I would love to get you on my show, Alvin Kamara. But shout out to Terron Armstead, by the way, and his show, The Set. If y'all want to subscribe to Terron Armstead's podcast, make sure y'all do that. But I truly do believe, like bias aside, that Alvin Kamara does have a bit left in the tank. Maybe not at his peak anymore. Absolutely. I'm not saying that he's going to still be a guy who could get us, 900 yards rushing and 900 yards receiving. Not at all. But I do think with Travis Etienne in the backfield now and him being our new number 1 featured back, Kamara can actually thrive with a limited role. And I know that he's probably going to be making a lot more money than what his role costs for in 2026. But, hey, that's a problem that I feel like you should worry about in 2027. Now, in 2027, I might be a little bit more cold-hearted and say, okay, it was a good run, but now we really got to move forward. Like, we can't be paying Alvin Kamara a lot of money going forward. But I think in 2026 right now, we can still utilize Alvin Kamara. And I genuinely believe, and I might be an idiot, maybe my bias is showing, but I genuinely believe the Saints are a better team in 2026 with Etienne and Kamara backfield than they are with a Etienne and a Devin Neal and whoever backfield. I think Alvin Kamara can still contribute a lot to the New Orleans Saints. And Lord knows running backs, we hope, we pray, we knock on wood that they stay healthy. But, who's to say that Etienne doesn't miss a game or whatever? Wouldn't it be nice to say, okay, hey, Etienne went down. Guess what? We still got Alvin freaking Kamara. And maybe Alvin Kamara may not be as good as he once was, but he could be good at once than he ever was. Shout out to Toby Maguire. Let me know in the comments, though. What do you guys feel? How do you feel about Alvin Kamara's comments on Terron Armstead's show? And do you guys want Alvin Kamara back in 2026? I'll get to some of the comments right now, starting with my guy, Know the Chop Podcast. And he says, he already said that he wants to be here for the duration of his career. He's been saying that for a good minute, and he has no desire to go nowhere else. New Orleans is his home. He is a Saint for life. I agree. I do believe that Alvin Kamara genuinely wants to be a one-team guy for his whole career. But business can be business. And again, I'm only asking these questions because we also heard all offseason how Kellen Moore and Mickey Loomis would answer the questions about Alvin Kamara. They asked Mickey Loomis about Kamara after the draft because they explicitly asked, hey, Mickey, y'all did not draft any running backs in this draft. Does that mean that Alvin Kamara's spot is safe? Mickey Loomis could have squashed all types of speculation and said, yes, Alvin Kamara is going to be in our backfield. We look forward to seeing what him and Etienne can do. Mickey Loomis did not say that. Mickey Loomis said, we're going to reevaluate. We're going to evaluate. We're going to kind of see what our roster looks like going into the fall, and then we'll come to a conclusion. That obviously means that, okay, that's something there, because why can't you just say, hey, Alvin Kamara is going to be our running back? I mean, if we ask Mickey Loomis or Kellen Moore, hey, what do you think about Tyrann Mathieu and his future? They're going to say, yes, Tyrann Mathieu is our quarterback. When a team, I've learned this a long time as a sports fan, when a team is committed and like 100%, like this is our guy, he's on our team, they're going to say this is 100% our guy. But when the team starts, kind of ducking and dodging the questions or kind of like speaking in circles, like, we're going to evaluate, that usually means that there's something a little bit there. Now, maybe it's not something that's going to be there right away in 2026, but that does make me think, okay, it's a stopwatch officially on with Alvin Kamara's time in New Orleans. Again, I hope that he's going to be here in 2026. I want him to be here in 2026. And off of the interview that he did, he has every intention, Alvin Kamara at least, to believe that he's going to be a New Orleans Saint in 2026. Now it's on Mickey Loomis and Kellen Moore to say, yes, Alvin Kamara is going to be a New Orleans Saint. And until those two do that, either or, it could be both of them, it could be either or. There's still going to be speculation. Like, okay, well, what's going on? Why can't the head coach and the GM of the team say, yes, Alvin Kamara is a New Orleans Saint? Why are they saying evaluation and we're going to look at our roster and answers like that when they are asked about Alvin Kamara and Cam Jones, by the way? But tonight we're talking about Alvin Kamara because he just did the interview. But let me get to some more of y'all comments. Brute Saint says, I don't mind having Alvin back. Kellen will find a way. Now, that's another question I have, though, Brute Saint, because do you think that Kellen Moore has an affection for Alvin Kamara the way the old regimes do? I'm just speculating. Speculation can make an asshole or an idiot out of people, but maybe Kellen Moore looked at the numbers this past offseason. He looked at the, Kellen Moore is a numbers guy, a data guy. He looked at the analytics. He's definitely an analytic guy. He's probably looking like, I don't think Kamara really fits into what I'm trying to do anymore. I get that he's a popular guy in New Orleans, but he's not my guy. I've only been here long enough to barely grab a cup of coffee at CC's Community Coffee House. So do we know for sure that Kellen really has a vision or wants Alvin Kamara in his backfield? Kellen might be like, look, Alvin just ain't really the guy that I have going forward what I want to do with this offense. It's speculation on my part. But again, Kellen Moore had multiple opportunities to come on and say, yeah, Alvin Kamara is still my guy. I just think that, he might work better in the backfield with Travis Etienne, but he hasn't. He's been talking just about as much in circles about Alvin Kamara's future as Mickey Loomis has. So it makes me do wonder, like, okay, every time, and I told y'all this when we fired Dennis Allen, they had a lot of Spencer Rattler truthers. I'm old enough to remember when not everybody, but many fans thought that Spencer Rattler was the future quarterback of the New Orleans Saints. And I say, y'all know, when the new head coach comes in, he's probably going to want his own guy at quarterback. He's probably not going to be married to the old regime's pick at quarterback. But what happened? Oh, wow, look at that. He drafted Tyrann Mathieu, and they still have Saints fans. A lot coming at my ass. Not Spencer Rattler, you a hater. Well, look where we are in 2026. Clearly, Tyrann Mathieu is the guy. So, geez, who was right about that, right? But that just goes beyond the quarterback. It goes all of us the positions. Kellen Moore is not married to the DeMario Davises and the Cam Jordans and the Taysom Hills. That's why we are looking at a brand new look at the New Orleans Saints going into 2026. I'm not saying that means that Kellen Moore is not a fan or, didn't want a DeMario back, does not want a Cam Jordan or whatnot back, but Kellen Moore might just be a little bit more, if you want to use the word heartless, or just, he doesn't have no emotional stake to this. He's like, this is my regime. Kamara's a Peyton guy. Kamara's a Dennis Allen guy, technically. Kamara's, I appreciate his 1 year with me, but I'm looking forward to the future. And even if Kamara ends up staying, if the Saints say, well, we just can't find, we don't have the heart to want to trade him, we're just going to leave him on the team for 1 year. Does Kamara have the role that we as fans think? Or does Kellen Moore say, Etienne is my guy. Etienne's getting 20, 25 looks a game, and then I still got to feed Olave. I still got to feed Jordan Tyson. Kamara, if you get 3 to 5 touches a game, be happy. Will he? We'll see. It's interesting. This is the hard part, I guess, as a business that, hey, business decisions have to be made. Not every prominent player or player that we love is always going to have that top featured spot with the New Orleans Saints, which is why, it's a bit refreshing because, I will miss a DeMario Davis if Cam Jordan does leave, which I'm still wondering. Cam Jordan is also the same way. He's going on Twitter and he's talking about the Saints as we. But it seems like the front office is not replicating that we when it comes to players like Kamara and Cam Jordan. So, in one half, because you love these players, you're like, man, okay, where's the loyalty, Saints? Are y'all going to keep these guys or not? What's going on? But on the other hand, I'm also one of the main ones that was like, look to the future. Stop treating us like a mom and pop shop. And again, you guys are definitely going to want to hear what a former New Orleans Saints player said about Alvin Kamara and how the New Orleans Saints might view him in my next segment. And it might make you think a little bit harder or differently about this Alvin Kamara situation. I'm really him says it's hard to produce when you are getting drove in the ground every play and get hurt. I will say absolutely. The Saints did not do Alvin Kamara any favors since Drew Brees and Sean Payton left. So absolutely. I always felt like Kamara was never Derrick Henry, or even, let's give a love to Saints legend Deuce McAllister type back where you just pound and pound and pound him. No, Kamara's a guy that, you give him about maybe 15, if he's really hot one game, 20 looks in the backfield, but not every game, but you also want to get him in space, right? You want to feed him as a receiver and whatnot. You want to have a Mark Ingram type back to complement him so that we're not wearing down Alvin Kamara and his body. And the past few years, the Saints almost treated Alvin Kamara like he was a Derrick Henry or a Deuce McAllister type. And we knew that probably was not the greatest idea because Alvin Kamara just isn't built to be, I don't want to say every down, not an every down back because I feel like that's insulting to Alvin Kamara, but his maximum value is not to be an every down back. His maximum value is to be an all around back. That sounds good in my head. I don't know if that sounds good out loud, but that's how I feel. Sonia says, I want Alvin back. I saw Sandra had a question non-related to the topic, but I do want to answer it. She says, is Homer Simpson a new addition to the room? Yes. Y'all know I love me the Simpsons. Well, if y'all don't know, I love me the Simpsons. I love me Stone Cold Steve Austin. Anything that John Barnes loves is definitely going to make this shit more than a man cave. But the thing that I love most, Sandra, more than Stone Cold Steve Austin and more than Homer Simpson and the Simpsons is you and Bruce Saint for leaving the super chat last week. So this shit is more than a thanks to the king of the super chats, Bruce Saint, and to the queen of the super chats, Bruce Saint. And if y'all continue to watch the show, y'all know if you leave a super chat of $10 or more, you're like Homer Simpson right there. I love me some Simpsons, y'all. You can find your name on the This Shit More Than a Scoreboard. What other podcast do you know where you can see your name make a This Shit More Than a Scoreboard? And if we get at least just one, I'm in a generous mood. I know y'all usually watch me on Tuesday, so I appreciate y'all watching me tonight on a Wednesday. If we get one super chat tonight, I will play a never before seen skit that just because of how the news wind up. Hey, look, there you go, right there. Bruce Saint and Sandra. You know why their names are on This Shit More Than a Scoreboard? Because they left a super chat. If we get just one super chat tonight, I will play a never before seen skit here on the John Barnes Show that never saw the light of day. Not because I didn't think the skit was good enough, but because it just ended up not being, it didn't come to fruition. And you'll see more about that in a little bit because shout out to Bruce Saint because he is the king of the super chats for a He's a $5. So he doesn't even say anything. That's what I love about Bruce Saint. Sometimes, people leave a super chat because they want to make sure that if comic gets featured. Bruce Saint just shows love to the show. That is why he is This Shit More Than the Game certified. Y'all show Bruce Saint love. Because of Bruce Saint, later on in the show, I am going to play a never before seen skit on the John Barnes Show. Shout out to my guy Trey Lee watching on Facebook. I appreciate again that we have people watching on Facebook now. That's pretty damn cool. Hopefully we continue to grow this show more and more going into the 2026 season. Trey says, if we have Kamara and Achane, I think that would be a great duo with more carries for Achane. That's how I see it, Trey. I hope the Saints see it that way, but that's absolutely how I see it. Mick Swagger says, Alvin would have had better numbers the last couple of years if our O-line was consistent. There was a lot of things that was wrong with our team, absolutely. So, yes, I agree that the Saints didn't do Alvin Kamara any favors when it comes to just his overall career legacy the last few years since Drew Brees and Sean Payton retired. Slim South says, AK is now the backup. It might just keep him healthy or the pressure will be off. I agree. I think this will be a good role for him. Now, I think this is the role, though, that us fans see for Alvin Kamara. And I would like to say, just giving Alvin Kamara's answers on a Terron Armstead podcast or set that he is fine with this role, or he feels like, hey, I don't mind, sharing the load, or even kind of bowing down a bit to Travis Achane, letting him be the guy, but still getting my looks as well. Now, the question I want to know though is, does Kellen Moore feel the same way? I remember y'all, man, I love me some Joe Horn as a kid. He remains one of my top 5 favorite Saints players of all time. Let me know in the comments. Am I showing my age, or are y'all in the same, wavelength with me? Well, y'all alive. Well, y'all were alive, I would think. But, I don't know, man. Time has gone by. Boy, I swear, time is going fast. My little son is damn near walking. He's gonna be 1 year old next month. Time is flying. Remember when I was first announcing Lil Jono on the John Barnes Show, and then I was announcing him, being born, and now he's about to be 1 year old next month. Time is flying. But do y'all remember Joe Horn in his prime? Like, while y'all, diehards during that time. Man, I love me some Johan. I love me some Johan. His pizzazz, his swagger, his toughness, his play. Of course, he was a top wide receiver for multiple years, not just for the New Orleans Saints, but in the NFL. And I was convinced. I was like, there's no way when we bought Sean Payne in. Oh man, of course Johan's going to be, a prominent person for the New Orleans Saints in the future. He's not slowing down anything. Johan is the man. Sean Payne is going to love Johan. Sean Payne did 1 year with Johan and say, okay. Sometimes that's how head coaches are. They have just no loyalty to the past regime. They don't have no loyalty to the fan favorites. It hurt me as a fan, as a teenage little general. Like, I can't believe, we're getting rid of Johan. Then he wound up going to the Falcons, which, that sucked. I choose to believe that Johan's Falcons era never happened. It's like a fairy tale. It's like Little Red Riding Hood. It was fairy tale stuff, but it never actually happened in real life. But Sean Payne was not afraid to make the tough decisions and say, yo, I appreciate what you did for the Saints. I had one good year with you, but I'm looking forward to the future. Marcus Colston, Devery Henderson, Robert Meacham, those are my guys going forward. You, Johan, do not fit in that equation. Kellen Moore might be the same way. Maybe Kellen Moore is just not as ruthless as Sean Payne and makes it known ahead of time. So that's always kind of in the back of my head when it comes to like head coaches coming in and, old veteran, fan favorite, sometimes players not being a part of the equation when it comes to the future of the New Orleans Saints. But and even in that 1 year that Johan had with the New Orleans Saints, because he was a part, thankfully, I'm glad that we at least got to have Johan on that 2006 team. He was able to be on that ride with us, given how loyal and how amazing he was to the city of New Orleans and all the trying seasons he had with Jim Haslett and AB and all that. His role diminished as the year went along. Some of it was because of injuries, but as 2006 went along, like we all saw, Marcus Colston was clearly the number one guy, and then we started to see other guys, like lesser known players, not even like the Meachams and Devery Hendersons, but like, lesser known players. Jamal Jones, I believe, was one. Like, he was getting more looks. I think he actually dressed out the NFC Championship game, and Johan did not. And Johan was healthy for the 2006 NFC Championship game. But Sean Payne said, hey, you fed out my rotation. I'm not, you're not my guy. There is a chance that can happen with Alvin Kamara. I'm not saying it will. Again, this is all speculation. Obviously, the past does not dictate the present. I'm just saying, when head coaches come in, and none of these guys before the 2026 draft class are technically Kellen Moore's guys. He's going to take some because he's like, hey, these are good players. Yeah, I'm definitely going to rock with some of these guys, but he has no loyalty to Alvin Kamara. His vision may not be what his fans vision Alvin Kamara was with a Sean Payne or even Dennis Moore and a Clint Kubiak. Kellen Moore might be like, I don't need a two-system back. I want Travis Etienne being my main guy. When Kamara gets the ball, he gets the ball. He might get 2 carries a game. He might get 5 carries a game, whatever. That's going to be interesting for me to see. But my idea as a fan still is, I do believe that Kamara makes our team better in 2026. And I'm hopeful. Until I see it, I'm not going to just talk in absolutes that Kellen Moore does see Alvin Kamara the same way that we might see him. But I do hope that Kellen Moore believes that Kamara could be a valuable part of this offense and make this offense one of the best offenses in the NFL in 2026. It's going to be very interesting to see. What is also interesting to see is the Know the Chop leaves a $2 super. And the Know the Chop podcast says this shit more than the game. You're damn right this shit more than the game. The Know the Chop podcast, you're damn right this shit more than the game. Time ain't no joke, man. Time is not no joke. I'm glad to see some of y'all see. I'm not the only old one here in the chat. A lot of y'all. I met Johan a few times too, man. He's an awesome guy. I would love to get him. I actually, I'll take you out behind the scenes. I found Johan on Instagram and I DM'd him, and he actually DM'd me. And this is the real Johan too. This ain't like nobody, I don't think nobody in 2025 is trying to cosplay as Johan on social media. And me and Johan actually talked had a few good back and forths on Instagram. And y'all know I had to ask. I was like, Joe, I got to get you on my show. And I didn't want to put that publicly until he actually came on the show. But Joe was like, yeah, I'll come on the show. Now, here's the thing, whenever you ask players to come on the show, like they'll say, yeah, and then time goes. And then, like there's a few Saints that I've had, entertained the idea of coming on the John O'Bourne show. Shout out to Eric McCall, because he's the one who, yes, I'm on the show. Let's make it happen. I was supposed to do that interview virtually. Say, well, why we got to do it virtually? Let's do it in person. And we had that classic episode of the John O'Bourne show. But I actually talked to Johan a bit on Instagram last year, and this is a reminder. Actually, I'm gonna make a reminder. I'm gonna hit him up again because he told me, he was like, "Yeah, I'm interested. I'll do your show." Now, maybe he might not be as pressed to do the show because obviously his son plays for the Carolina Panthers, right? So his loyalty right now, fair. If my son, I would hate to say it, unless it's the Atlanta Falcons, but if my son was good enough to make it to the NFL and he winds up going on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Hey, I love my New Orleans Saints, but this shit more than the game means more than just being a fan for the New Orleans Saints. I would definitely be cheering for my son. Maybe Joe Horner's like, yeah, I'll wait till after my son, retires or goes to another team before I do any type of Saints favorite shows. But he told me that he might want to come on my show one day. So let me make a note and say, Joe, I'm gonna hit him up after the show tonight. Say, hey, Joe, the offer still stands, man. Saints fans would love to hear from the Saints legend, in my opinion, one of the greatest Saints wide. I mean, it should be opinion. It's a fact. One of the greatest Saints wide receivers of all time, Joe Horn. All right, back to the main topic. Rose City says, keep Alvin Kamara. Devin Neal got hurt, and we don't know if when the season starts, Kendry, we never know about Kendry and his health. And I'm not trying to make light of his injuries. I'm sure Kendry is a great person, but I mean, the data is the data. We definitely need to make sure. I agree, with Devin Neal getting hurt last year. I know Kamara got hurt too, but so what's the rush to get rid of Kamara? I don't think the cap space would be worth losing him, but I'm just a fan. And again, I'm biased. I'm an Alvin Kamara guy. So we'll see with that. Can I get to some more comments? See, I don't want to make sure I missed anybody. Mick Swagger says, all those weapons on the field will force the opponent to play honest. We're going to talk about this on the future show because I'm slowly seeing, not a lot, not widespread or anything, but I'm seeing a lot of pundits show the Saints some love. I actually saw yesterday Mike Clay of ESPN NFL fantasy expert say he had Tyler Shuck in his top 3 or 4 of projected passing leaders in 2026. And boy, the comments on Twitter were wild. What? Who? Tyler Shuck top 5? I mean, he had Tyler Shuck over Matt Stafford. I believe he had him over Lamar. Like, he had Tyler Shuck over some prominent names. And I'm like, oh, wow, the hype is getting real. There's some people, not a lot. Again, there's still, back in the day, you put Drew Brees top 3, top 4 on a projection sheet for the upcoming season, and nobody bats an eye, right? Tyler Shuck is still in that category where when people see him getting love that's not from New Orleans or Louisiana, they balk back like, why is Tyler Shuck getting all this hype or whatnot? But the hype is there. It's not widespread, but it is there. So I'm going to have, I think this would be a fun conversation to have on a future episode of the John O'Bourne Show is, it's fun to be in the hoopla of the offseason, and it's fun to have all this hype that us Saints fans have. And I told y'all all offseason, and I believe I've been a man of my word. I am drinking the Kool-Aid heavy this season. Y'all getting optimistic, John. All offseason, y'all getting John O'Bourne's banging that fan drum saying this shit more than the game. Who that goes Saints? Let's make the goddamn playoffs. But there is a reality where what if Tyler Shuck takes a step back this season? What if Tyler Shuck ends up not being what we thought he was? And then we're talking about Tyler Shuck in 2027, 2028 saying, damn, we kind of got ahead of ourselves with that. There was a reality that could happen. The NFL is not fair. The NFL is not about what we want. As we know as Saints fans, we wish it was about what we want. We would have a lot more Super Bowl rings for that man Drew Brees right now. Sometimes that cold hard reality can be hitting you like a stack of bricks. So I do want to talk about the scenario of what if the Saints are disappointing this upcoming season. What if Tyler Shuck actually is not what we think he is? What if the hype is overdrawn? I just want to play that what if game. We're going to do that on a future episode. But there is going to be a lot of fans cheering for the demise of Tyler Shuck because they don't like that he is suddenly getting a lot of hype this offseason. And it's going to be up to Tyler Shuck. As much as we love him right now, and we love how he's embracing the city of New Orleans, he's going to have to prove a lot of people continuously wrong. He proved me, my dumb ass, wrong, and a lot of you guys in the chat and a lot of Saints fans in general wrong. Now he's going to have to prove a lot of people outside that Louisiana bubble wrong because there's still a lot of people. As much hype as he's getting still, there's still also people saying, no, what is this Tyler Shuck hype coming from? He only beat the sad teams in December. The Saints were playing, the bad stretch of their schedule. He's not the real deal. It's one of the storylines that I'm very intrigued about in 2026. We have another super chat from the great. The one thing Bruce Saint and Sandra are going to do is they're going to leave super chats and they're going to make sure that their names are on at this shit more than the graphic. Good to see that air horns did not take off season. Sandra says, I wish I could give more, but we are attending Sonia's oldest daughter's graduation from GSU. Congratulations. Let's give her applause for Sonia's oldest daughter, Sandra's niece. Congratulations. Please let her know, Sandra, if you don't mind putting her name in the chat so I can specifically say, and you can clip this and give it to her. But if you don't want to put her name in the chat, I totally understand. But please let her know that she is this shit more than the game certified. And Sandra, never, ever apologize about the total amount that you give in a super chat. Every super chat matters, and every super chat we get, we invest right back into the show. So please never apologize. If you leave a $2.83 super chat or if you leave a $20.83 super chat, never apologize about the total amount you guys give, because I'm just grateful that you guys and y'all hard-earned money give back to the John O'Bone Show. I promise. No amount. I never look at the super chat and say, oh, $2. Okay, thanks a lot. You know, it's not, I'd rather fit. No, hell no with that, man. One thing I don't play with y'all time. And a damn sure another thing I never will play with is y'all money. I appreciate every single super chat we get on the show. So thank you, Sandra. Leave your niece's name in the chat, and I will definitely give her a personalized this shit more than the game certified message. All right, Jared, I see you put in the chat Dennis Moore. I hope I didn't say that. I know sometimes I watch my shows back on repeat. I'm like, why did I say that name or something? Sometimes I'm happy that I don't have like a huge audience, because Lord knows, y'all, if I ever do grow, and that's the goal, that's the vision, to grow this audience to like huge numbers. It's gonna be a lot more people like calling out my fibs and my blunders and my bloopers, and Lord knows I have a lot of bloopers. So if I did say Dennis Moore, my apologies, because I know I say a lot of things. My wife is the one who usually catches it. Like, sure, come back after I'm done with the show. Say, did you realize you said this on your show tonight? What you said at this moment made absolutely no sense, John. And I'm always like, well, thank God I only have an audience right now. 25 people watching on YouTube and not 25,000. But never be afraid, y'all. So to call out, I guess, my bloopers. But a lot of the reason why I'm having my speculation tonight, y'all, is not just because of me, going Inspector Gadget on the New Orleans Saints and Alvin Kamara. A prominent New Orleans Saints figure had a lot to say about Alvin Kamara. A lot of discourse was caused because of what he said. We are going to get to that in our next segment. But first, let us hear a word from one of our sponsors.
Here's a gift just for you for being a fan. Are you going to a sports game or a concert or any major event? Well, buy your tickets from SeatGeek and use the promo code JONO at checkout, and you can receive $20 off your purchase over $50. That's $20 off your purchase. What are you waiting for? You know this shit more than a game, man.
And I know what's more than the game. I hope I say this right, Sonia. Ania B. Shelton, congratulations on your graduation. And please know that you are this shit more than the game certified. And if it's Anaya, let me say it again. Anaya B. Shelton, congratulations on your graduation. And please know that you are, just like your aunt and mama, this shit more than the game certified. Congratulations. I love it. I absolutely love it. The future, man. The future of our lovely country that we are in. It's the kid. Well, she ain't a kid no more. I guess she's just graduating, but we young. I say we. I'm about to be 40 years old in 2 years. Whatever. Let me talk about the time, y'all. The reason why I also have more questions maybe than answers when it came to Alvin Kamara's appearance on Terron Armstead's podcast, The Set, was because afterwards on Tuesday, Tyrann Mathieu, New Orleans legend, LSU legend, former New Orleans Saints great. He went on his show and he kind of peeled back the curtain a little bit. I mean, he's going to say in this clip his source told him, but I mean, he was in a building. So, who else is a better source than the guy who's actually in a building? But please turn your volume up, y'all, and listen to what Tyrann Mathieu and his co-host, Terrell McCall, from their great podcast, the In the Bayou podcast, said about Alvin Kamara's standing with the New Orleans Saints. And I definitely want to get y'all's opinion on what Tyrann Mathieu said. But here's what Tyrann Mathieu said about Alvin Kamara and his standing currently with the New Orleans Saints franchise. Listen up, and then let's talk about it.
Man, I'm going to say something, and I hope it's not taken out of context. I don't think the Saints is dealing with this in good faith. I don't think so. I don't think this is not what you do to
I think this is
your
franchise.
And I'm
Bad relationship.
I want to be hesitant to say that, but this is not the way you treat your all-time touchdown leader, or And I know Kamara. I know his production hasn't been what we thought it was going to be,
right?
But he is still this franchise's leader,
right?
In fucking yards and touchdowns and. So without him having 1,000 yards, rushing.
Right.
So I don't.
I mean,
my honest opinion, bro, is that I think the Saints, and I think I mentioned this on a couple episodes ago, but I think the Saints would rather not have to make a hard decision. And he just walk in one day and say, hey, look,
This what I'll do.
I'm going to retire.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I don't think they really got the, you know, and I know Mickey, Mickey's I hope you don't take this wrong, but I just don't think they got the balls to just outright cut him.
Right.
You know, and it's kind of the same thing with Cam Jordan.
Yeah.
Like, I would much rather you come out and say, Cam, go find someone else to play.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, and I think some people respect that honesty.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, Brett Veach told me, like, when I left the Chiefs, bro, he told me, bro, I ain't got no money for you or Tyreek. And I was fucked up about it because I'm like, damn, like, we just come off a Super Bowl and 2 Super Bowls, and like, how the fuck you ain't got no money?
Where's the money?
He gave Pat $500 million. Like, tell him to fucking give you $8 million back. I mean,
something.
You can't find that money?
Right. Where is it at?
One of my good sources told me, you know, a few people in that building, they are mad at Kamara because of the way he sort of spearheaded getting Dennis Allen fired. And so you got somebody fired, but you didn't produce neither.
Right. Yeah, I ain't gonna
and
lie.
And I think, you know, the Saints organization, like people that haven't been a part of it, is really like a family. So you're going to argue, you're going to fight, you're going to do all that shit, but at the end of the day, you family.
Right.
And I think a few of those people, a few of those decision makers who was in love with Dennis Allen, because he did have great defenses. He was one of the guys to bring home a Super Bowl. And it's just history there. And I think some people picked a side. Yeah. And I think he got caught in it, and
he's still in it.
You know, so I wish him the best, man. I wish him well. You know, you would hope that he could go somewhere and just sort of finish it out, you know, last 2-3 years somewhere. But
you think he made enough money to just say, it, like, y'all just go ahead on and cut me. I can go find another job.
Yeah, bro, but everybody don't want to live like that.
I know we got a new running back, but is it like a money stalemate?
Like I said, bro, I don't think it's a money issue. I think it's, I think for some people it's personal.
Now, obviously, Tyrann Mathieu's statements go a lot further than little old John Barnes' statements. But that was very, very interesting. And I definitely want to hear what you guys' thoughts are on that. Because the main 2 takeaways was that Tyrann speculated that, hey, the Saints just might be afraid. They're not as cutthroat as the Chiefs are, you know, and they want Alvin Kamara to retire, as I alluded to in the past segment. Or they hoping that Kamara says, I want to retire. Or please just trade me, guys. I want to go play on another offense where I'm more featured. But the Saints, because as Tyrann Mathieu say, which confirms what we all thought, they are almost like a mom and pop type shop. They value the family branding, and we are a family here with the New Orleans Saints and on L-Line Drive. They're afraid to straight up say, Kamara, we don't see you in our future. So that was interesting. This is not coming out from John Barnes. This is coming from Tyrann Mathieu is speculating that. But he also said that a source told him that there are people in the Saints building that are mad at Alvin Kamara because he was one of the people who was spearheading the firing of Dennis Allen. Well, if Alvin Kamara was one of the main people, if he was the main person, Alvin Kamara deserves a goddamn statue in front of the Superdome. Let me and fellow Saints fans tell you that, okay? But boy, oh boy, I mean, how petty would a front office have to be? Who could be that asinine of a front office figure? Seeing as how bright and how vibrant the Saints fans are about their future right now and how excited we are about the upcoming season, more excited than we've been in a long ass time. Who can see that? Who can see what Kellen Moore is building and still have any type of resentment or pettiness about Alvin Kamara because he was one of the people who spearheaded the firing of Dennis Allen? I wouldn't be surprised, though, because I've seen enough from how the Saints and the Pelicans now operate to know how they probably do have that good old boys network. Not as a, you know, a sexism thing where it's only, I'm talking about the Saints. I feel like they're, and the Pelicans, the good old boys network. Dennis Allen, in my opinion, probably made it up to the level of being a good old boy to some of the top executives with the New Orleans Saints and Pelicans. I'm saying Pelicans too because Gail owns both teams. Now, I'm not speculating on which figures Tyrann Mathieu might be alluding to in the front office who are mad at Alvin Kamara for the Dennis Allen thing. I wouldn't say it's going to be Gail because Gail's the one who made the decision. Gail went over Mickey Loomis, but I'm not going to speculate and say it's Mickey Loomis is one of those people. I don't want to get into the speculation game of who it could be. But I mean, Tyrann Mathieu's words hold a lot of weight. So if somebody's telling Tyrann Mathieu, and I don't think anybody will have the reason to lie to Tyrann Mathieu was in the goddamn building when Dennis Allen got fired, okay? I don't think anybody will have the reason to lie to Tyrann Mathieu. And I appreciate that Tyrann Mathieu actually put this out there in his podcast, to be honest. I saw it because, of course, some polarizing takes from Saints fans to him. But, hey, man, he's in the podcast game now, so that's what comes with it. But if there is any executive that feels that way about Alvin Kamara because, God forbid, he say, yo, this Dennis Allen thing is not working, and shame on you. And, like, that's the type of stuff that still, as much as I'm excited about the team, it always goes back to the point that I cheer for the art and not the artist. Technically, the artists for the football franchises are your team ownership, your team, front office and all that. And, I appreciate our front office. I really do in the way I do. But I also, just from seeing how they operate, definitely seeing how they operated throughout the Dennis Allen tenure and hearing things myself, I'm kind of connected enough now where I get things. I mean, the fucking Pelicans fired my great my friend Big Shot, the guy who helped me be a ball boy for the Pelicans for 13 years. And the stuff I hear about how the Pelicans are ran. And I hear stuff about the Saints front office sometimes too. Which is why, I don't stutter when I come in here and say this team runs like a mom and pop shop. They run like a family business. I'm guessing it's in our benefit right now because it means that they are they are afraid, like some Tyrann speculated to cut trade Kamara. They don't want to say it. But the Dennis Allen thing is just absolutely asinine. Like, if there is any executive on the Saints front office who is mad at Alvin Kamara because we fired Dennis Allen, like, then how out of touch and out of reality is this goddamn front office? Like, really? Like, come on now. Like, I can see if we still suck. Like, if Kellen Moore just had a horrendous first season, and like we feel just as down bottom as we did with Dennis Allen. But we have hope. We have hype. The fans are excited about the 2026 season. There's going to be a lot of projections that the New Orleans Saints are going to win 9 to 10 games this season. I guarantee you that probably would not have been the case with Dennis Allen as our head coach in 2026. So please, who has the audacity, has the gall to be mad at Alvin Kamara in 2026 in our front office because he was one of the leaders of getting Dennis Allen fired? Alvin Kamara, first of all, thank you for your service. Not only on the field, but clearly off the field as well, because at least Alvin Kamara can say one thing is that, hey, I already set the New Orleans Saints up for a better future by saying, yo, Dennis Allen, he's got to go. But after hearing Tyrann Mathieu's comments, y'all, what do y'all make of those comments? Does that make y'all see the Alvin Kamara situation, or even if it's the Saints front office in a different light after he said that? Let's get to some of our comments now. I'm going to ignore all I see the Falcons fans have infiltrated the chat room. Yeah, good for them. Hopefully they are having a great Wednesday night. The Know the Child podcast says DA screwed DA. He got fired by his damn self. This is not on Alvin Kamara. I would agree with that. And I would say this is the NFL. This is a business. The same way Alvin Kamara is kind of on the chopping block for the New Orleans Saints because his production is not matching his value. Dennis Allen's production never matched anything of the value that we gave him. All right, so if this is a business, if we can cut players whenever we start seeing, they ain't got it no more. Dennis Allen never had it. So for any executive on the front office of Tyrann Mathieu's source is correct to be mad at Alvin Kamara because Alvin Kamara was one of the people who pressed Gail Benson to fire Dennis Allen. Get mad at Dennis Allen. Get mad at Dennis Allen for not putting us in the playoffs. Get mad at Dennis Allen for not letting us win the NFC South once when the NFC South was doing a terrible stretch division performances, and we still couldn't win 9, 10 games and make the wild card the NFC South title. Don't get mad at Alvin Kamara for that. Give me a break with that. Give me an absolute break with that. Rose City says the mitigated gall. How dare Dennis Allen apologize to them? That's a whole other topic. We all knew that Dennis Allen was basically a dead man walking after that. He fooled us a little bit in those first 2 weeks when he brought Clint Kubiak in, and we was off to a hot start 2 years ago, but when we all started writing on the wall. Slim South says, thank you, Dennis. Thank you, Alvin Kamara. Dennis, Possum Face, and Lemon Carr had to go. Now, he didn't mention anything about cost. I don't want to throw Carr into this, but I do know how fans feel equally about Dennis Allen. They feel about Derek Carr. Jelly Bell says, please God that Alvin come to Atlanta. Y'all think I am a troll now? Y'all gonna have to block me. I don't. Again, Alvin Kamara has said time and time again. Now, you know, a lot of players say things when they are a member of the team, but he said that he does not want to be on any team but the New Orleans Saints. So I don't see any type of scenario where he goes to not only just the Atlanta Falcons, Jetty Bear, but to any team. Truly, I think that Alvin Kamara is the type that's once the Saints say we're done with you, Alvin Kamara is going to say, I'm done too. Now, maybe, you know, a team like the Chiefs, if they're like really, really good, like if Kamara says, all right, you know, it's December, y'all ain't playing me, cut me, I'll go play with Sean Payne or somebody and try to win a ring as I bow out gracefully from my football career. Maybe there's a scenario where that happens, but I mean, I believe Alvin Kamara when he says that, hey, you know, and Tyrann Mathieu even said it at the end of the clip. If y'all were listening, he said, look, some players just, they ain't got time to be wanting to move around and all that. Like they invest property into the cities that they play for. They invest, you know, communities, and they invest in their communities and become a part of the community of the city that they're playing for. Alvin Kamara has a lot going on in the city of New Orleans. He might not want to go anywhere else. He might be like, I ain't got time for all that. Like, okay, if the Saints don't want me, you know what that means? Maybe I just ain't ready. I ain't made for this game anymore. I'll retire. I got a lot of other projects going on that I could keep busy with that I'm going to make just as much good money and live a great life. So I don't think it's a thing of, you know, if Kamara does end up leaving the New Orleans Saints, what team is he going to go to? I think that he genuinely might retire. But I do believe that Kamara wants to play in 2026. And I do think ultimately what all this leads to is that if he is on the team or not, I would like to hope and think that he is on the team this season. This is probably going to be his last season as a New Orleans Saint. So I am going to cherish, if he is a New Orleans Saint in 2026, I'm going to cherish every run, every catch, every game that Alvin Kamara plays, because it does seem like even if he is, you know, there's still going to be smoke around this. And whenever there's smoke, there's fire. My dad always told me that with Alvin Kamara's future with the New Orleans Saints. So, you know, unless, you know, he has a crazy year and it surprises the whole world and rushes for 1,000 yards, however which way he ended up getting that road to rush for 1,000 yards. I do believe that this is probably going to be his last year as a New Orleans Saint if he does come back, which is why I'm going to cherish every single Alvin Kamara game in 2026. The same way I did with Taysom Hill last season. Like, I mean, Taysom Hill has been mighty quiet on the Taysom Hill front, but sure doesn't sound like he's in any eagerness to sign with any team, never mind the New Orleans Saints. And makes me think, you know, unless he's going to do something where he signs with a contender in December, he goes with Sean Payne and the Broncos like late in December to kind of help them get over the wall in the AFC playoffs. This time in New Orleans definitely looks to be done, which is why last year, you know, we saw that smoke starting to form around Taysom Hill, right, and his future in New Orleans. And I said, okay, well, Taysom Hill is going to be a Saint in 2025, but I know enough to cherish every run, as frustrating as it was some games that, you know, obviously the Taysom runs just really wasn't always productive under Kellen Moore's offense. But I was like, this is not a playoff season anyway. I'm just going to cherish Taysom's last, you know, games as a New Orleans Saint, because I saw he's not going to be a Saint going forward, and that ended up being the case. I'm going to treat Alvin Kamara the same way here in 2026. If he is on his team in 2026, I'm going to treat every run, every catch, every game that he plays with a lot of emotion, because it feels like this is probably going to be the end of Alvin Kamara's time as a New Orleans Saint. Same way it was the end of Taysom Hill's time with the Saints in 2025. But I hope we get at least just one more season with Kamara where, you know, hopefully we are a playoff team and he can go out on his high horse. But all we can do is speculate and go off the information that players like Tyrann Mathieu gave us. So it's very interesting. It's a very interesting conversation. What up, Alex? Shout out to Alex and the Tiger Talk podcast. Love you too, my guy. Appreciate you. Appreciate all of you guys watching here on the Jono Bone. I even appreciate the Falcons fans because, hey, at least them commenting in the chat helps the algorithm and helps the engagement. Jerry, of course, y'all know Jerry be ready. Like, Jerry just be watching the show now, waiting for a Falcons fan to come in. He don't be caring about the conversations we talk about. Jerry just be waiting for us to talk about, waiting for any Falcons fan to show up so he can talk his shit. But we'll see about Alvin Kamara's future with the New Orleans Saints. Alvin Kamara clearly wants to be a New Orleans Saint. Now the question is, does Kellen Moore and Mickey Loomis clearly want Alvin Kamara to be a New Orleans Saint? And what does his role look like in 2026? I think that any role he has makes the team better than it does without Alvin Kamara. But time will tell with that. Now, I said earlier in the show, y'all, we got just one super chat. I was going to play a never-before-seen skit for you guys. Well, thankfully, we got 3 super chats today. So we definitely will play this never-before-seen skit. don't know if you guys saw the news last week, but safety, well, former safety now, Justin Simmons retired from the NFL. Well, I remember, I hope not, I'm old enough to remember. Hopefully, you guys can remember too when Justin Simmons chose the Atlanta Falcons over the New Orleans Saints. But it came down to the wire. You know, there was speculation that we were going to sign Justin Simmons, and we were all hyped up because Justin Simmons was a great safety. Now, obviously, and I'm sure Falcons fans, Jenny Bell, let me know in the comments. At least give me some type of serious analyst if you're going to be in my chat. Justin Simmons wasn't his peak player anymore with the Atlanta Falcons. So the Saints kind of, I don't want to say lucked out, but, you know, we didn't lose anything by not being able to get Justin Simmons' services in 2024. But it was down to the wire between the Saints and the Falcons on who Justin Simmons was going to play with after a prominent career in Denver. He ended up going to Atlanta. The rest is history. He has not been able to find himself with another team, and thus he retired after a great 10-year career in the NFL. Shout out to Justin Simmons. But when the speculation was high that he might be joining the New Orleans Saints, I wanted to be prepared. I knew the fans were going to be hyped up. And so I said, I got to have something ready to go when we get the notification that Justin Simmons is a New Orleans Saint. Again, as we all see, Justin Simmons ended up going with the Atlanta Falcons. So even though I filmed this, it never got to see the light of day until today. But because Justin Simmons retired, I said, well, hey, now is a good time to actually play the skit. And at least not let my work go in vain. So for all of you guys, if you're still watching the John Bones Show, here was a never-before-seen skit from yours truly. Had Justin Simmons signed with the New Orleans Saints in 2024. This is probably going to be the lowest enthusiastic season that we've had, honestly, since the 90s, guys. I mean, there's no enthusiasm, there's no confidence. If you have a book club, I suggest you sign up for it on Sundays because there ain't going to be much Saints watching in this house. And I'm pretty sure it won't be much Saints watching in your house as well. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. I'll see you guys next time. Who Dat Nation?
Wait, you really feel that? Huh? Wait, no. You feel that way?
You know,
legitimately.
Man, ain't nobody went with the damn Saints this season. Come on now.
When was the last time you've been on Twitter? Or X or whatever it's called? You didn't see the news?
Another presidential rally? What's going on?
No, I think some defensive guy. What's his name? Shoot. Simmons. Justin Simmons.
What about?
Is that his name? I think that's his name. He signed with the Saints. Are you... Hello? You good? Jonathan? What's wrong with you?
Are you okay? AC's set on 69. Why are you even sweating? Are you gonna say something?
Oh, God. You're gonna say it. Here we go.
This shit more than a game! Baby, we signed Justin Simmons? Justin Simmons, come on now, baby. Baby, this man is a four-time second-team All-Pro. This man was voted the number 57 best player in the NFL in 2024. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Justin Simmons is a New Orleans Saint? Because you know this shit more than a game, bro. You know this shit more than... Hold on. Hello? Hell yeah, I heard the news like Justin Simmons retiring, man, dude. Oh, but playoffs, man. We're going to the Super Bowl. Matter of fact, honey, get your credit card. We are going to Dallas in week 2. Oh, we're going to have a time of our lives. Yeah, I'm coming to your house right now. I got a plan how to go through the season, okay? Hell yeah. Who that, baby? Who that? You know this shit more than the game. You know this shit more than the game. Get your credit card.
Never got to play that skit, y'all. That goddamn motherfucker signed with the Atlanta Falcons. I said, Justin, I made that skit for nothing. Wasting my wife's time. But I'm glad that I got to finally play it for you guys. And this is going to now live in the John Bones Show archives. Only the diehards can say, hey, because, you know, people don't always translate to, you know, from Twitter to YouTube, from Instagram to YouTube. So there's a lot of people who are not going to know that skit exists. But you guys, the diehards here on the John Bones Show, can say that y'all saw a never before seen skit of had Justin Simmons signed with John Bones. And I learned my lesson after that. I said, you know what? I am not going to do any more skits unless I know for sure this player is coming to New Orleans. I really was confident that Simmons was coming to the Saints. So I was like, oh, I got to do the skit now, you know. And then, you know, I remember a day passed, another day, and I'm like, oh shit, I thought for sure, you know, the reports were saying that it was close. They were just, you know, dotting the I's and crossing the T's. Then like 4 days later, Justin Simmons signs with the Falcons. I said, you son of a... Not because he went to the Falcons. I was bad in the South. I was like, damn, I did that skit for nothing. But when he retired, you know, the light bulb went off. I said, well, shit, you know what? That's a good way for me to actually finally play the skit. And me and my wife's work not going in vain. So I'm glad that y'all enjoy it. hey, Justin, maybe if you would have signed with the Saints, your career would still be going. We treat you like royalty here in New Orleans, Justin. The Falcons. There's a joke in there, actually. Justin Simmons played 1 year with the Falcons and said, all right, that's enough football for me. he like Lance Moore. Lance Moore did 1 day with the Falcons and said, yeah, that's enough football for me. Atlanta, where football players' careers go to die, huh? Where football players' careers go to die. Justin Simmons, you had a great career, man. All the best of luck to you in your post-playing endeavors. Guys, thank you guys so much for joining the John O'Bourne Show. Those were the main two topics. It was just about Alvin Kamara, and I got nothing else. So I would say if there's any questions you guys have in the chat, we'll do maybe another 5 minutes where we just do some open talk. Please let me know. Y'all have any questions for me or any questions y'all have about the Saints or whatever, about the Falcons, or honestly, give me some questions. I'll be happy to answer them. But if not, we can wrap up this show until the next edition of the John O'Bourne Show. But I appreciate you guys, man, because we are really in the dark days of the offseason. So I just enjoy talking sports, though, man. I enjoy this show. This is a hobby. This is a passion project. This is a hopeful business venture, but this is a hobby. I enjoy doing this show, and I enjoy my very close, small, but tight-knit community. This shit more than a community. And again, guys, if you weren't on the show last week, you may have missed the news that I signed with Boo Crew Media. So if you guys want even more John O'Bournes than just what you get on the John O'Bournes channels and the John O'Bourne social media networks, make sure y'all follow Boo Crew Media, because I do some specific and exclusive videos only for them talking New Orleans Saints. So make sure y'all subscribe to them and look forward to the upcoming Saints Sunday night show that I'm going to be doing on Boo Crew Media during the 2026 season. That's going to be a lot of fun, as well as doing all this great stuff here on the John O'Bourne Show. But if y'all have any questions, stuff that you guys want me to address before I close up shop for tonight, please, this is the time to let me know. Like the Noted Chop. He asks, Jono, do you have a skit when the Saints signed Adrian Peterson? I do not, the Noted Chop podcast. I was not doing content that season. I have said many times, I am the award recipient for the person with the worst timing, because when I finally started doing content, it was after the 2020 season. And of course, you guys, the Saints have not made the playoffs since after the 2020 season. So I started doing content when Drew Brees retired. Great timing, Jono. Just absolute great timing. And I have not been able to do any type of playoff content or the works since then. So no, I did not do anything for the Adrian Peterson signing. Now, I always had the vision of wanting to do content, not just Saints content too, but just content in general. And dragged my feet. Just never, bit the bullet, if you want to say. But the good thing, and the reason why, it was after the 2020 season is because obviously all that was COVID, right? So we all just locked indoors, nothing to do. And I was like, man, John, if there's going to ever be a time to finally just like take the chance and see what you can do if you put yourself in front of a camera. If you don't do it now, you're never going to do it. So I remember my guardian angel, my great big bro, Dwayne, he was still doing he was a aspiring rapper. So he was doing like music videos and stuff all during COVID. I remember one weekend, I'm locked in the house. He's still out there doing his music videos. I'm like, well, goddamn, if he could do his stuff, I can, go get a camera and put myself out there. So that's what I did. And, I'm grateful to have the audience that I did since the 2020 season. But I was not making content during the short-lived Adrian Peterson era. Worst timing award goes to me, because Lord knows if I would have been doing content throughout 2017 to 2020, I guarantee you guys, I would have had so many more subscribers. The Saints were a hot team throughout that tenure, and I missed that boat completely. Good Lord have mercy. I missed that boat completely. I mean, good Lord, Minnesota Miracle reaction video. I guarantee you that would have got 1 million views. Like if I was doing the content at that time and, doing what I do every Sunday where I record myself, my God, y'all, if I was recording my reaction, and it would have been great because I was watching it with my family. Y'all should have seen our reaction to the Minnesota Miracle. I guarantee you that would have been 1 million viewed video. And I probably would have maybe like 25K subscribers off of that alone. I missed out on some good content, not doing content for the Saints, talking about just the Saints from 2017 to 2020 when the Saints were the hottest team in the league, led by Drew Brees and Kamara and Michael Thomas. And, selfishly, those heartbreaks fucking sucked. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not wishing that they happened, but I'm like, God damn it, at least if I was doing content during the 2017 to 2020 seasons, I would have got some good views from my reaction to the Minnesota Miracle, my reaction to Tampa Bay retiring Drew Brees, if you want to use that hyperbole, my reaction to Kirk Cousins beating us in overtime with the Minnesota Vikings with them being a wild card team, and my reaction to the no call. Oh, I would have got a ton of views from that. Y'all would have seen some rants that you would have never thought possible. And the views would have been great. I'll be like, well, at least I'm leaving with something. Y'all know that Denzel Washington mean? Like, well, goddamn, if the Saints are going to break out hard like this, I'm leaving with something. I would have been leaving with a lot of views and a lot of subscribers, but my dumb ass decided to do the content after Drew Brees retired, and the Saints have been one of the more irrelevant teams since then. So this is my audience, which I love, y'all. It could have just been a lot bigger if I was doing it during that era. The Know the Chop podcast. That's a long ass answer for a simple question, but no, I was not doing content when we signed Alvin Kamara, so there's no skit for that. Arrow asks, how do you feel about WWE attacking content creators? I have not seen or heard anything about that, Arrow, so please be more specific with that. From what I've seen, the WWE actually usually shows content creators a lot of love. Like, I mean, I have bigger numbers than some of the content creators that they give some great access to, and I love it. Like, you know, I'm not trying to like say, oh, how dare they give access to somebody who only has 3,000 subscribers or whatever. But from everything I've seen, the WWE shows great love to content creators. So I didn't say anything about them attacking content creators, but let me know what you mean more specifically. I think you're talking about maybe Nick Khan saying like they don't take the WWE fans' opinion serious or whatever. If you are, I'll comment on that. But I didn't say anything about them attacking specifically content creators. Shit, sometimes I wish like the Saints and the Pelicans would show love to the content creators. I mean, they don't have to. I'm not moving the needle for them, but show love to me the way these the WWE and the Wrestling Federation show love to the wrestling content creators, which is why sometimes I say, y'all, I'm thinking about doing, you know, pivoting a little bit to wrestling content. Because I guarantee you, with this audience, y'all would probably see me at the WrestleManias and stuff. WWE shows love to their content creators. But I didn't see anything else about that era. So if you have more specific details, let me know. Tigmeister asks, shouldn't we want to give the young running backs a chance over Alvin Kamara? I mean, fair. Again, you know, we can't complain about the Saints being run like a mom and pop shop and then wanting to treat players the mom and pop shop way. So if you feel that way, I'm not mad at it. I know there's some fans who are like, nah, man, Alvin Kamara needs to go. Like, your time is up. You've shown the past 2 seasons that you're not at your peak anymore. Move on. I am biased. I think that Kamara still has a little bit left in the tank and that we could be a good team with him still. And I haven't seen enough from the Devin Nails and the Kendrick Mitters to feel like they should knock Alvin off his perch. But maybe you feel that way, and if you do, more power to you. Like, I have no aggressiveness or no pushback against those who have a different opinion about Alvin Kamara's future with the Saints and what we should do with him. I just think that right now, 2026, I think Alvin Kamara still is a better player than a Devin. Well, maybe Devin Neal could possibly supplant him, but Kendrick Miller hasn't shown me enough because he just could never stay healthy. So I want to keep Kamara, but I'm not mad at anybody who feels like it's time. I really am not. Juddy Barrow, I'm gonna be nice because he looks like he's being sincere with us, even though he's a Falcons fan. He says, I love y'all, man. This community truly brings me joy. Y'all's team is complete dookie water, but as people, y'all okay in small doses. The sentiment is the same, Juddy Barrow. The sentiment is the same. But y'all not dookie, y'all just pure shit. Any questions? Y'all, we got I'm sorry to all the non-wrestling fans, but we got some wrestling questions in the chat tonight. Know the Chop asks, who do I have Sunday between Roman and Jacob Fatu? I don't think they're going to have Roman win that WrestleMania main event and not have him not be the champion until SummerSlam. So I think it's going to be Roman Reigns. The question is, does anybody dethrone him, the Know the Chop podcast, at SummerSlam? Is it Oba? Do they build this out long-term and make Fatu get his win back at SummerSlam? I don't know, but I do think it will be at SummerSlam and not some Backlash this weekend. I don't think Roman is losing that title until August. What's that? And Arrow specifies that the WWE are taking down people's pages for using their clips as of lady. That goes with every entity. Arrow. The NFL does it. I've been copyright struck a few times for posting NFL clips, and the NFL, you know, these billion-dollar conglomerates, like they have third-party vendors, if you want to call it, or whatnot, bots. I don't know, but like they go through YouTube pages and they detect if their intellectual property is being used, and they will give you either a copyright strike and just say take the shit completely down, or they would say, okay, now any money that you make from this video possibly is going to us. It's cold. I'm not in love with it, given that it affects me a bit, but it is business, and I can appreciate it. So I'm not that would not bother me. I get it. You know, it's their property. You know, we are utilizing their property for our content. So there, I guess, has to be a give and take. Now, I'm not trying to sound like a bootlicker for these billion-dollar companies. Please don't ever put me in or dig me in that way. but I just do it in a vacuum. You know, if somebody is using WWE property, if I'm posting like too many clips of New Orleans Saints games on here, I would not be shocked or mad if and when the NFL came and say, no, that's our property. You can't use that in your content. Give us your money from this video or take the video down. I wouldn't be mad at that. It comes with the territory. Imagine like if somebody, let's reverse the page. If the NFL or the WWE use me in their stuff. Now, you know, I'm not a $1 billion person. I'm a guy that's trying to make an audience. So I'll probably be excited. Like, hell yeah, use my stuff. That's publicity, right? But if WWE was like making good money off it or like, you know, like really using my shit like to feed off of their content, I'll be like, well, hold on. Throw me a little something. What we doing here? So to be fair, I would not fault the companies for doing that as well. I feel like there's at least an even middle ground. I don't know if y'all follow music, but from what I saw, during the whole Kendrick and Drake beef, Kendrick was allowing people to use his songs. Usually, like if you play 5 seconds of a song, you get copyright struck by the YouTube, meaning that any money that you make from the video, it goes to the artist's label or whatever. I mean, the music industry has it completely a monopoly on the content creation game. But Kendrick, from what I saw, I never got into the nitty gritty of it because I'm not a music content guy, but he was allowing content creators to use his song free of will and make the money off it, which was awesome. And I'm like, well, goddamn, there's got to be a middle ground for every music artist, for every music label, for every sports entity to say, hey, you know, we know that we benefit from content creators talking about us, so we will find a middle ground where you guys can use our stuff and both parties win. Right now, the billionaires are absolutely greedy. They're like, no, if you use our stuff, we are getting everything from it. But I would appreciate if these conglomerates were like, hey, you know, okay, you can use our stuff, but here's what comes with it. You know, you get 50%, we get 50%, something like that. But I guess you don't become billionaires by giving away 50%. And I seem to think that that was all of our questions. Besides, I just see y'all in the chat talking shit to the Falcons fans, which I absolutely love. But y'all gonna have to now talk shit to the Falcons fans at another place or in the comments of the replay of the stream, because we are signing out for tonight. I appreciate. Oh, hold on. I think I got one more chat comment from a question from North Chop. North Chop came with the. Oh, y'all ignore Jelly Bear. This is time, quality time with John. I'm gonna give y'all a chance as an open book to ask me questions, and y'all giving Jelly Bear y'all attention. Shame on y'all. Be like North Chop. North Chop like shit. A Q&A with the one and only John O'Ball. Sign me up. You ain't worrying about no damn Jelly Bear and the Falcons. Not that you guys, I'm lamenting you for talking shit to a Falcons fan, because it's always fuck the Falcons and it's always this shit more than the game. All right. Final question. The Northern Chop podcast says, with all the recent acquisitions like us trading for Tyree Wilson and signing Anthony Jennings, does this mean the door is closed on Cam Jordan? I don't know, because I don't think Tyree Wilson or Anthony Jennings is a better player than Cam. And Cam Jordan said that himself. He told the reporters, hey, everybody that they bought in this offseason is not better than me. And I would agree. But again, it goes back to, does Cam Jordan fit into Kellen Moore's vision of what he wants the team to be? And Kellen Moore might be like, yeah, thanks for the memories, Cam. I appreciate my 1 year with you the same way Sean Payne was with Joe Hahn, but, you know, move on. Go to another team. You're not in my plans for 2026 or moving forward. I'm hopeful. Tyrann mentioned it on the clip that we played earlier. The Saints are run like a mom and pop shop. That, as much as I hate that they're run like a mom and pop shop, let me at least, like my Denzel Washington meme, leave with something that Gail says, you know what? No, keep Alvin and keep Cam Jordan. Keep them on, because we're a family, and those guys are family here for the New Orleans Saints. But here we are. It is May 6, 2026, and Cam Jordan is still unsigned. So I don't know. I'll leave y'all one exclusive before I leave. I talked to Cam Jordan a few times here and there too on social media. I'm not acting like I'm on a spaces with Cam Jordan, and I hit him up and I say, man, what's going on, man? I said, look, we ain't draft nobody, so we ain't draft a defensive end replacement for you. So if I got to be the adult in the room, I was being tongue in cheek, but I was also being serious. I got to get you and the Saints to sit down and not leave the room until that contract is signed. I'm gonna do it. And Cam Jordan says, we? He told me, we, Jono? He said, tell them to stop being disrespectful. I was like, oh, wow. The things that make you go, The things that make you go, That's an exclusive for you guys here on the John O'Ball Show. All right, final question. Slim Salt asks, who should be our nigga corner since we have lost Alante Taylor? That's a good question. Who should be out, Nickel? Because we didn't necessarily draft. I saw we signed one in rookie free agents that could possibly fit that role. Didn't we just sign one too? Oh, who is that guy we just signed? Hold on. This is why I'm not an analyst, because analysts when it's at the top of their head. Let me see. Saints signed corner. It had to be somebody we signed recently, right? Anthony Jennings, right? Yeah, that's the one. No, excuse me. I'm so sorry. Martin Emerson. Yeah, let him be the guy. Let him be the guy. Martin Emerson. It ain't gonna be that hard to take the spot. I mean, it's an open spot right now, so I would say Martin Emerson. Because when he was healthy, he was pretty good. Hopefully, he returns healthy. We'll see. We'll see. Yep, Martin. Hey, what up, Mikey? Joined a little late, but what up, Mikey? Cam Jordan is about to open an airboats rental company and call it a career. I know two of his clients would be Diana Rusina and Mike Vrabel. If y'all saw the news today, and if you know, you know. I still can't believe the media was acting like that. Diana Rusina and Mike Vrabel thing was not what we clearly knew it was. Some things just ain't obvious. Sometimes common sense ain't common. Sometimes people just don't know that this shit more than a game. We'll see you guys next week on the John O'Bourne Show.
You know.